All right, Julia, I have to say it was kind of fun to take this test just to see how ridiculous it was here. But even in this test, they don't quite tell you the definition of implicit bias. They don't quite tell you what viewpoints would constitute this, this bias that liberals think should be ostracized from the public sphere.
Yeah, I'd like to take this test too, just to see where it goes with my own so-called implicit bias. No, look, I mean, who gets to say what is bias and what's not? Everyone has their own original opinions. Everyone has their own unique ideas. Who gets to say, look, because you believe this one thing, that makes that bias? And that's totally unfair for the NAACP President Derek Johnson to say that that is the standard by which people are going to be employed. That's not fair, because who actually gets to say what's bias and what's not? I mean, that's totally just backtracking on what the First Amendment even says. It's freedom of speech and freedom of opinion. So first off, that's a really important point I think people need to think about. And secondly, I have a question for Derek Johnson. Has he taken this test? What is his implicit bias? I would like to know, honestly.
I would. Well, it's fun to take the test. I mean, it's a fun thing. So here's the thing, too. This test, they don't claim that it's actually scientific, because your test score, whatever your results are after taking this, they have no proof, evidence, any data whatsoever that result correlates with how you treat other people. So really, it doesn't matter what test score you get, even if they say you are terribly biased as a person, because it doesn't mean that you treat anybody badly because of that bias. So I'm not even sure what the point is, but just in, I guess, a small practical sense here, isn't it the job of the voters when we walk into the polling booth every election day to decide whether, the viewpoints, the experience, the so-called biases of the different candidates, whether that should disqualify them from representing us or not?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. They should. It's the very original, unique idea of the person who is voting and saying what they want to say. That's the thing that matters, not, what the overarching umbrella, this dystopian idea of what the group think everyone should be thinking. And look, this is coming from the organization that had Rachel Dolezal. I think, if anything, they need to be focusing more on their actual hiring processes than people's groupthink and what they should be putting on people to think in their opinions. They should be thinking through some type of implicit bias training. Look, the NAACP here is really just trying to push forward some type of political agenda and to scare off people who might otherwise be interested in working for the NAACP but don't think along the same exact vein that people like Derek Johnson, the president, think in that way.